Yes, people, and welcome back to another video on the Bridge YouTube channel where we bring you all things Chelsea. I'm your host of the most Bridge Nation here today to, listen, I know you guys have missed me. I've missed you guys too. It's been a while since the last one, like a public live stream on the Bridge Nation. Oh my goodness me. Dear me. Wrong button, eh? I pressed the wrong button. I'm so sorry. No, but on a serious note, dear me. Having a nightmare, but no, obviously, hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all having a wonderful day today. You know what? Obviously, I know we've got a game that's coming quite soon again. The final of the international rate games are happening obviously today and tomorrow, and then we're going to be back to regular football for up until I believe it's mid-February. So a lot of football coming out quite soon. A lot to discuss, a lot to talk about really. And so listen, that's why I'm back here to talk about Chelsea, talk about a lot of other stuff. On a personal level, I've been a lot more busier with other stuff unrelated to Chelsea Football Club itself. Obviously in my own personal life with my other job, been quite busy, been doing a lot of work in regards to that as well. Obviously, we're doing some other stuff in regards to Chelsea as well on analysis and everything of the sort as well. So listen, it's been a while. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. And listen, I'm back now, probably on a much more permanent time. So you're going to be seeing me here a bit more regularly to discuss stuff, to talk about stuff a bit more. So listen, you guys can ask away, of course, but I'm actually just gonna do today what I thought I'd do on the stream today. It's a bit more of a thing of like, let's discuss actually, our thoughts in the season so far, how we felt like we played, the circumstances around that, everything in regards to that, of course, as well. And I've got generally quite a few thoughts in regards to that matter anyway. So I want to discuss that with you. I want to hear you guys' opinion too. Make sure you guys are commenting as well so I can understand that. And make sure as you're coming in to like, share, subscribe too. So let's actually get into it. So to start with, I think one of the easiest things to start with, in my personal opinion, is just discussing currently where is Chelsea in the table right now. Now, I think for me personally, if I look at it right now, obviously we're currently third on the table, if I'm not mistaken. I think we've got like 18 points or something of the sort. Let me just double check that because I don't want to be waffling here before we get that. But obviously we're on 20 points in the league. Obviously third place, 2 points behind City, and obviously 6 points behind Arsenal, who we play in 2 weeks, actually. 2 weeks, I think Sunday, I would assume, because that's a big game, isn't it? So they obviously play them in 2 weeks. In terms of goals scored, we're currently like number 2 in the league in terms of goals scored against. Probably have the second best defense in the league, because I remember hearing that stat from quite a few of my mates. So, from the outside looking in, one might say, so we've had a great start. Even in my personal opinion, I thought we were going to finish third place this season as well. So again, from that sort of perspective, right, I think you can make the argument it's going well. The season's going well. You're in the right place. Everything's going well. Everything's cooking. But obviously, that's not necessarily true. Of course, right? We need to listen. That's a good positive to have. You also have one or two negatives that we need to speak about as well. But I think from just a standpoint of that, I think currently right now, you could make the argument it is quite good to going so far. But at the same time, one could make the argument Sunderland is only a point behind us. And then if you look at basically from fourth place to ninth place, there's only like a 2-point gap, right? Bro, from fourth place, from third place, by the way, I want to add this to from third place all the way to 12th place, there was only a 4-point gap, right? And if I add even 13th, that's a 5-point gap, right, between everyone. So currently, right now, the league is very tight in general. And so, listen, end of the day, from that perspective as well, we've done quite well, I have to say. So we've done quite well in that aspect to be third place. So, and I think, oh, what's this? Bill to Dean, can you please I can't, not today, mate, not today. It's on the side, obviously, over there. You'd usually be able to see it, but no, that's all basically. So not today, I'm afraid, but I will probably wear it for our next game against Burnley, which I will be probably streaming on the stream. Make sure you're there for me, mate. Do you ever wear that? I do. I'll be wearing it for the preview and obviously the thing, of course. Win the next 2, and then we're going to win the league. Hey Jay, chill out, mate. I don't know, man. I don't think that's going to be the case this season. But there's been a lot of obviously things that have also occurred, obviously from Chelsea, that are kind of like negatives as well that we should be honest about too, right? But from a positive standpoint, a good standpoint, we should be speaking about. We're third in the league. currently defensively, considering how bad we've been to be the second best in the league, it's quite telling of the league itself, in my personal opinion, right? From the league perspective, bro, the other defenders have to be doing absolute doo doo, bro. If Chalobah and Tosin are giving you second best defense in the league, bro, that's all I'm saying. But it is what it is in that regard. But in the day, from just a statistical standpoint, it is going quite well. But let's actually look at it from a bit more. Let's look at it a little bit more deeper. Let's look at a bit more of everything, right? I think let's continue. Let's start some negatives before I go back to the positive section again. I think if you look at Chelsea, obviously, defensively, we are looking quite shaky, of course, right? That's just me being honest, right? I think if you look at Tosin and Chalobah, and I've always said this before, if you've watched the British Nation, you guys know I'm not very high on either of them before they were even playing as poorly as they have been as of recently this season. I've always seen them as much more as backups, and if you're gonna play either or, they have to have a competent guy next to them. Now, Cole was sort of turning out to be that guy, considering the run he had and everything of the sort, and that is the thing, right? If you're not gonna have someone competent next to them, right, which is ironically, it's kind of shocking in that regard because, if you look at one of the guys we did play, one of the younger lads, Chempong, right? Chempong, whenever he's kind of played with them, they've looked somewhat competent. But when Fofana's played with them, they've looked competent because Fofana obviously is a competent defender. His issue is availability, right? That's the main issue. But the problem is with those guys, they cannot play together because it's like having Tweedledee and Tweedledum together. It doesn't work. These guys have to be paired with a competent centre back that can move them around. I feel like a best example I could give, is a Liverpool example here. It's like Van Dijk and Joe Gomez, right? Joe Gomez realistically cannot play if he was playing with like Joel Matip at the time, but it can't have Joel Matip and was it called and Joe Gomez together because it becomes a situation where it's Tweedledee and Tweedledum. That's very much the way I see Chalobah and Tosin, right? You cannot have them together. You need to have someone that's very competent, that's very good in that position, whether it be a Fofana, whether it would be even a Colwell, right? If you want to class that into him as well. Otherwise, you're asking for failure playing the two together, right? And that is a main issue here, of course, right? And I think, like, if you just look at it from like the way we play and everything, a big problem, at least in my opinion, right? And this is a big problem I've had. Bit up to you, TRR. Hope you do well. Hope you do well. I think a big problem that I have here is that Tosin, for example, has no agility, right? He's not got any agility. And what that means is, part of the thing that they've realized whenever they try to isolate Tosin is that if you can get a quick flick up, then you can kind of get like a 1v1 of him. If you're able to just hit the little, the little side step, right, really quickly, right, you're basically lost Tosin, bro. Tosin is going this way, the player is going that way, mate. So that's the thing, right? And that is a big issue because particularly in the beginning of the season when Tosin was playing a bit more regularly compared to now, right, that was very harmful for us. Now, I think obviously, I think the manager then was able to do a good job, right? I think the manager himself, big up Bastro, big up to you. But I think obviously the manager, I think, has kind of realized that a bit more at Tosin, which is why he's played, I think, considerably a little bit more less than usual, right? I think the last game he played was against Karabakh in the Champions League, I should say now, not Conference League, right? So the manager's clearly realized that. I think playing a Chempong more that is a good thing from the manager perspective. Again, I feel like this is something I'm gonna kind of like talk about consistently here. The manager needs to trust these young players because at the end of the day, these are the guys that are available for you. You don't really have some of these older guys that are going to be available for you on a regular, consistent basis. You got to start trusting the youth and everything of the sort, in my personal opinion. That's just the way it goes. That's also the predicament that you've been set upon as well, right? But either way, I think Chempong obviously has been a welcome introduction to be playing a bit more consistently. And I would like him to play a bit more because fundamentally, I feel like, you've got a Chempong there. We might as well use him to improve right now, right? If Fofana's fit, get Fofana and a Chempong play on a regular basis, in my personal opinion, to help him improve. Another guy that I want to talk about, I know he played quite poorly against Karabakh, but again, this is the sort of thing where I'm like, listen, he may have had a bad performance against Karabakh, but I wanted to be playing more, regardless of those type of performances. It's Hato. And again, I think Hato, barring the Karabakh performance, has been playing quite solidly. Still needs to improve, of course, but he's young. That's gonna come with the new league, the new setting, and the learning a new system. And I think for me, Ahmed, I think for me, from that perspective, right, we need to get these guys playing a lot more. In my personal opinion, we need to be getting these guys playing a lot more, getting these guys are improving. And I think a Champong and Hato, listen, Tosin and Chalobah for me, they are lost causes. I'm gonna say how it is in my personal opinion. If they're not playing for Fana, if Fana's out, why don't we then play these young guys more? Play these guys more. I think for me, a worrying sign. I think a worrying sign, actually, I would probably say, is the Disasi inclusion. You guys know, Rick Nation, let's go. Listen, jokes aside, Disasi is my guy and everything like that. But like jokes aside, we got to my way, he reminded me, right? But like jokes aside, obviously him coming in is because, of course, the depth is quite low right now. You've lost Colwell, Buddy Shield. He can play for one game, then he's out for a couple of games. For Fana, we don't know if he's going to be reliable enough to play a couple of games as well. And so you kind of run into this situation, right, where, in my personal opinion, we need to start solving. We need to get some more backup. Now, I think Disasi probably has been professional. He's been a former captain at Monaco. He knows how to be professional. He knows how to do a job. So I'm not here to criticize him at all. So I feel like, again, if he's been able to do that method of getting back into the squad, credit to him. It's good to have a body at the end of the day. But again, he should be used as a last chance saloon. I'll be playing Hato definitely over him, a Champong over him, right? So please let us make sure to do so. And that's all I would probably say in that regard to the manager as well. Big I'll put the Hato prize in the bag. Iwani, I would usually say, of course, yes, I would probably put the prize in the bag. But again, he's a young guy, bro. We need these guys to improve. At the end of the day, if these are the guys that are going to be coming to your club on a much more consistent basis, Iwani, right? So you need to play these guys more minutes, right? So either way, we need to play Hato more minutes, Temple more minutes. And again, I'm going to make the same argument to you guys. I cannot keep trusting a Chalobah. I cannot keep trusting an Tempong, right? You have to. I'm taking the Sarsi over Hato for CB. Are we trolling? Is this a troll? There's no way we're doing that, bro. Come on, man. We need to be serious. Guys, we are a club now where we develop players so they can be here for the long term. We need this. We need Hato to be a good player. The only way Hato is going to be a good player if he's getting consistent minutes, bro. If you're only giving him a minute here, 3-4 games later, he's playing another game, bro, that is inconsistency. You can't say that, bro. Even me, I'm a Disasi fanboy. But you have to play out, bro. We can't do that, man. Yeah. Like, come on, bro. This guy is trolling. Hato's our only cover left back. I understand that, bro. But we are in a rock and a hard place right now. I feel like we're in a rock and a hard place where I can't look at Chalobah or Tosin starting that position, bro. If there's no Fofana there. If there's no Fofana there, bro, I would listen. I'm literally willing to say, if for left back, if it's a Tempog, okay. Even Buddy Shield to an extent against the lower sides, I'm okay with, but we cannot play these guys. The problem is the British nation's got a hot take here. Is the guys that we've got there right now good enough? That's the question you have to ask yourself, CE. I get that, the Taj, but he's also a malleable player. I don't think any of our guys are beyond selling. Hato needs to grow up faster or another person. Yeah, but the thing is, guys, we can't keep doing this. You brought Tyler, but you brought Hato, I think, if I'm not mistaken, around about 30 British million pounds, bro. Yeah, are you going to be able to sell him again for 30 British million pounds if he's barely played the season for you? You have to think about it like that, guys. You have to think about it like that. The problem is, Raj, I don't think you can sell Chalobah. I don't think you can sell Tosin and Disasi in January. Unironically, I know obviously it was a rumor at the time, but Tosin. Yes, EE. And listen, and do you know what I said at the time? Then we need to be trusting at Chempong and I was good and Hato then. You have to trust the other guys then. If you guys know these guys aren't good enough, then start playing some of the other brothers that are good enough. Simple as that, really. I would rather us suffer like losing a game or two if it meant a Champong and Tosin became good enough for us, bro. And that's a claim I'm willing to stand by the way. And Adrian knows that I will stand by that claim. Exactly, Adrian. Let them know. So I think for me, fundamentally, I think fundamentally, playing Hato consistently is going to help us out. I'll just be honest with that. That's fair play. Now, obviously, I was just talking about like a net negative in terms of our centre backs. In terms of our goalkeeping, I can't really see that much, barring the one error that Sanchez has made. I think for me, other than that, he's probably reduced a lot of his in-game mistakes. Touch wood, obviously. But the problem is, yeah, again, I don't know. Like, I don't want to put judge. I don't want to judge this. I don't want to put like black magic or whatever you want to call it on this here. But at the same time, there is obviously this feeling in the back of my head, which is like maybe we're accumulating these errors. Yeah, then go like a run of games where he's going like here's another mistake, here's another mistake, here's another mistake. You know what I mean? Like I'm a little bit worried, bro. Low key, I'm a little bit worried that he might do something like that. So I am severely hoping that's not the case. But it is what it is. I think in that regard, Sanchez, we should give him credit for. That's a big positive that he's been consistent this season and not been, helping other teams like basically like, hit us, if that makes sense. I think the other thing that we should talk about, obviously, talk a bit more about the back line. If you look at the midfield area, obviously the main thing we should probably discuss. I know I don't like to talk about this often. Hello, mate. You're all right. How you doing? You're right. No, I am here. But I think for me, if I want to discuss a little bit further in terms of the midfield, we should probably discuss Lavia, right? Obviously, I'm a big Lavia guy. You guys know I'm a big fan of Lavia, but obviously, it's been kind of concerning, of course, right now in terms of like, again, he's injured. He's out for a month again. Like, I think he probably will still stay at the club because he's only on like really low wages again at the end of the day. But in a team where obviously Enzo's carrying a big knock, it seems. So like a minor knock, I should say. Obviously, with I think he's got like a knee edema, or which is like a swelling of the knee. You've obviously got Caicedo who's probably carrying a knock too, right? It's not great when the guy that should be on the same pedestal as those two is going to consistently injured basis. You've then got a young lad in Andres Santos who is still learning the position. He's in a new league now. The manager is trying to get embed him into the team, right? So it's a bit unfair on Andy Santos as well, right? In that regard too. And then finally, right, Isugu, I don't really have any comment on him because I don't even know what's gonna happen with him, bro. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, but we'll see in that regard. But obviously, I think the Lavia one really annoys me, right? But at the end of the day, it's been a bit annoying. I would really have liked him to be a bit more fit out this season and break that curse because of the fact that our midfield is really light. And then you've got a guy in the midfield who I'm a big fan of. You guys know, man. I was giving that weekly Andy Santos report, and I think obviously he's going to take a bit more time to embed into the team, but it's also unfair on him because we're trying to rush progress with him to be able to be ready and steady to do the job, which is unfair on Andre as well, by the way. And I do wonder because obviously Isugu, he probably was going to get barely any minutes. I'll be honest with you guys. I know a lot of people like to think he would have gotten quite a few minutes, but I don't think that would have been the case either way. So that's one thing I'll probably say in that regard too. As long as you don't hide the Congo. Yo, man, Nigeria. Don't worry, man. Welcome. Listen, us in Nigeria, man. We're doing wonders, man. We're doing wonders, man. Us in Nigeria are doing wonders, man. Big up to us, man. No AFCON for us. No AFCON for us, man. W, man. I'm so happy. What is it? Somalia, actually, I think we're winning last time I checked. I didn't check the final score. Somalia Football Club, come on, FC. We beat Bahrain. You know what, bro? I am proud of my nation today, bro. 2-1 win against Bahrain, man. Don't worry, man. Nigeria could never, man. Nigeria could never. They're top by Seniac. You still do YouTube? Yes. I do YouTube. I just been busy with work, as I said in my introduction earlier on. And I've also been doing a lot of other stuff, football related, but not on YouTube. So it's been a bit more of a busier period of time for me personally. That's the main reason why. Big up to you, bro. Hope you do want Seniac. They can absolutely hold that, bro. They can absolutely hold that. Should we have the Garnacho conversation, chat? I know there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of them that, I want to actually hear. You know what? Chat, you tell me your thoughts on Alejandro Garnacho, please. Tell me your thoughts on Alejandro. Tell me your thoughts on Alejandro Garnacho, please, because I want to hear your thoughts, man. Because for me personally, I'm a bit more interested. Listen, Axel Nation, Brick Nation. Ah, here we go. You remembered how to stream? Yes, thank you for letting me know, Staffy. Much appreciated, mate. Thank you for the positivity, mate. But thank God there's no Ballon d'Or clause. Thank God there's no Ballon d'Or clause. Why would they put in the ban? Listen, yeah, I just want to ask this question. Who thought that they would put in a Ballon d'Or clause, yeah, into what's it called into this? Like, there's no chance they would ever have done that. Come on, guys, let's be real. Let us be real here, okay? There was never ever gonna be a ban all clause, bro, for him. No chance. Let's read some more of what you guys are saying. But yeah, I think Garnacho in general. Uh, nah, I don't think so, mate. I think for me personally, just to give me 1 second, chat. Seem to fix my camera reads for a hot second, but no, I actually think, in my personal opinion, that Garnacho, at least for me, he has been. I think average is the best word to use. He hasn't. He's had a few games where obviously he could have done a bit more better. I think obviously that last game before the international game against Wolves, has been pretty decent, of course. I think if you look at it, the game against Karabakh, he was able to score us the equalizer at the time, which we should give him credit for. But I think in general, I think from a general standpoint, I think obviously he had a few games to start the season where he was quite below average, but I think he's improved, right? The last 2 games specifically, I think he's done a good job of improving as a player at the end of the day, which is kind of, again, we hope to see that continually to improve too, right? We want that to happen for him to continuously improve, to be able to continue to get more game time, to improve that too, right? And it seems to me, at the very least, right, as of right now, he is a starter whilst Palmer is out, with Neto obviously playing on the right wing. So Garnacho playing on the left wing, and then him playing, and then Neto playing on the right wing as well. Built our break endurance, hope you're doing well. And I think it's interesting to talk about both Neto and Garnacho, because I feel like Neto's been doing what his fellow countrymen is sometimes accused of, which is Bruno Fernandes, where it feels like he's getting the goals and assists, but performance-wise, he's been poor, right? That's what I feel like. Yeah, that's basically been prejudicial for us for this season, where I feel like performances, if I look at him on the pitch, the way he's performed, the way he's been playing, it's been quite poor, but he still able to get a goal, get an assist. Right now, I think this season he's actually been in the league. I think he's got some quite a decent amount of goals and things. Let me just show you. Let me just explain that to you right now, boys and girls. Right, Neto Premier League. Let me just say Premier League stats. Right. So in this season, right, if you look at Pedro Neto, obviously this season, right, he's played 11 games for us. He's got 3 goals, 2 assists right now, right? And I think that literally just proves my point even further, right? Where no, that's I hear you. I hear you on that one, KGB, bro. That's why I'm not. That's why I'm not gonna say anything on Garnacho. I'm actually quite positive for him. I'm quite happy to see what he's going to do, bro. But I do. I think I do hear what you're saying, E. But I think in general, if you look at this, Alejandro got, if you look at this Pedro Neto, I feel like particularly in the last 3 games, he's been DNA stealing. Yeah, but the performances have not been great. Now, a guy that I do think, who I think has been doing a lot of quite a few great performances, which we'll discuss later on, as obviously Stavao. But I think with Pedro Neto, that has been my one main criticism of him, right? Which is that yes, it's great again the goals and assists, but we need to also have the performances alongside that too. Otherwise, again, and I've said this before, we run the risk of having the same situation where you know he's having a stinker, but we can't take him off because he's still somehow able to scam a goal and assist, which is not great either. I don't think we're making judgment on him. I just think we're just being we're just being essentially honest about the way he's playing right now. It's a positive that he's giving me a goal and assist, but at the same time, his performances haven't been great either. So I think that's us being honest about the way he is right now. So again, I think for me, ideally, because again, if you look at our front line right now, barring maybe Jao Pedro, who's had a few seasons in the league, right? Everyone else around him is very inexperienced, right? Garnacho's quite young. He's got experience, obviously, but like we know, it's United experience, so that's United high basically. You've got obviously Gittins, who we'll talk about in a bit. Esteval, who we know is very raw. Delap's only had one season in the league, right? So everyone around him is quite young. He's the elder statesman, right? So I think for me, I want him to be setting the standard of having a good performance alongside the GNA. That's the one thing I'll probably say, right? He's the guy we're having to rely upon quite heavily. Unlike Cole Palmer, obviously, who's currently out injured, of course, right now. So that's the one thing I really want to put out there at the end of the day in terms of Neto. In terms of us continuing to talk about wingers, let's talk about Jamie Gittins. Now, Jamie, I think obviously I feel very sorry for him. I'm gonna start with that before we start talking about the player, because I feel like the price tag that we brought him for, right, which is I think around about 50 million pounds, has been a lot of our fans have been putting that front and center in terms of like the fact that, oh, he's a 50 million pound, he needs to be doing, but he should be doing amazing. When I really feel that's not his fault. The guy we brought is still a guy that's very much a work in progress that still needs time to develop, that still needs time to improve. And in the team, he's coming from a new league. He's got to have enough time to be given to improve, right? But at the same time, right, we can say all that, but there's been some opportunities where I'm like, you got to do better there, bro. I think an easy example that comes to mind was just 3 weeks ago against Spurs, where he basically missed the open net, bro, which was quite a disappointment from him. But then he's had these really great, wonderful moments against Wolves, where he had that really great opportunity where he scored that really great banger to make it 4-2 for us, right, when we're down to 10 men because of the lap being an idiot, right? But essentially, I just think for me with Gittins, it's just about getting more game time, more experience. I think I do actually think he's improving. I just think it's gonna be a bit more of a slower process with him. It's probably gonna take him a good full year and in the league before he starts getting better. I think a good example of that maybe even you could make is probably someone like one of my favorite players who used to play at Rennes, Doku, right? I think Doku obviously in the first season was a great dribbler, but didn't have any great obviously end product in terms of cutting to shoot, being able to put in a good cross into the box. But I think Gibbs has clearly showed that he can do that. I just think again with him it's gonna be a bit more of a slower process in order to be able to get that sort of thing through that line. Next guy I would want to talk about, obviously, is Esteval. I know that's the other wing we should talk about. Esteval, bro, I feel like, again, credit should be given to him. He's been playing great. He's been doing a great job. Much credit should be given to him. He's been doing amazing. More power to him. Let's make sure he keeps on doing this. I think the way that Maresca's handled him as a player has been amazing too. Making sure he doesn't start too many games, coming off the bench, making him learn his trade, making him, gain that experience slowly over time. Big credit to Maresca for doing that, in my personal opinion, because there'll be some people that will be, rushing, asking him to start the game straight away, which he has obviously elected to not do, which should be given as a major credit to Maresca, of course, at the end of the day. And I give him a super massive, what's it called, respect for him not to do that. And I think that is what should continue. I guess maybe in the Carabao Cup quarterfinal, I think you've got championship side should be doing that there. In the FA Cup games, in the upcoming UCL games, if you've got any other smaller opponents remaining, that's what you should be playing. If not, coming off the bench to provide that necessary boost that we need, that is what I'm talking about, baby. Now, in general, with Esteval, I've been very pleased with him. Hope he continues to go down this rate of improving as a player and as a team. So let's make sure that continues to happen, Mr. Maresca and my good friend. Control shift. Oh, 1 second. But that's pretty much it in regards to the player, of course. But now there's a like, listen, I think there's a lot of strikers that I know that everyone wants to talk about, of course, that we should probably get to, and I don't even know where to start that one really. What does one say to this? What is going on? Who should we think about? No, I'm just kidding. Let's actually talk about, of course, our two strikers, Jao Pedro, and obviously none other than Liam Delap. I think Liam Delap is the easy one to start with because, again, obviously Liam Delap, I felt like in the beginning of the season, he was kind of finding that partnership of Jao Pedro that was looking quite deadly. It was working quite well. He sadly then gets hurt against Fulham. He's been out for a long while. He comes back against Wolves, has the red card. In terms of the red card thing, I think part of that one of the red card is that this is the type of striker he brought, right? He's one of them ones that's like a Diego Costa, right? In terms of like he can't where he tries to use his physicality, his ability to bully, to push around some of these guys to be able to get the job done, right? So for me, you're not gonna find me being a bit of a hater in that regard because at the end of the day, that's his play style, right? That's his play style. That's the way he does stuff. That's the way he works. Now, Morales can obviously criticize him in regards to some of the stuff that he's done there and how he should improve in regards to that, which is 100% valid and 100% something that he should do. But you don't necessarily see me hating him. At the end of the day, he did get the red. He apologized to the team, and that's what matters against obviously when he came on against Karabag, he looked solid. He did a good performance in that one as well. He then obviously came on. He then obviously played against Wolves. I think a big problem, right, with Delap is that I'm gonna say this here because I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this too. Is that the life has good. I think that maybe can slightly improve, of course, in terms of his improvement in terms of the bot. But the problem we had, particularly against Wolves was we're trying to do something that we did last season, right? Which we're trying to hit the back post to Kukurea if he's there, right, all the time. And it's like, guys, we need to stop doing that when we've now got a number 9 there. Why are we doing that? Because it's basically, I feel like we don't feed our number 9 enough, right? That's the main problem I have, and I think particularly the archetype of striker now that you brought, like you have to feed him, bro. Right? It's almost like the same situation like with a lot of these big man strikers, bro. How do you make a guy like Haaland look good? He's fed the ball and he shoots and scores, right? There's not that. I feel like that of our wingers, bro. Whenever they cross the ball, they're not crossing to him, they're just crossing the ball into the box, bro. And I think that is a bit of a net negative because it's like, my big thing is, yeah, if you're going to have a number 9 in the lab, you have to make sure you're feeding him inside the box, bro. Right? You got to feed him. You got to be able to find him. If he gets blocked by like the last ditch defender by the centre back, fair play, or like whoever is or the fullback, you got to make sure the ball's coming to his feet in the box. And that's not happening. I know that when I was watching the last game against Wolves, and a reason why I remember this clearly is because I remember when Esteval came on, Esteval hit João Pedro. Obviously, he was at the edge of the box because he was box crashing in that role and was able to get his goal. But the problem with that is that obviously that's João Pedro's position. João Pedro is like a number. It basically plays as a false 9 or 9.5, whatever you want to call him, who's able to crush the box, and that's why that cross worked right because Esteval hit the ball at it towards the edge of the box, in the middle edge of the box, right, for that to happen. Ilab is a centre forward, proper number 9. He's gonna be in the box, bro. Right? Either you put the ball into the box for him to head the ball, or you hit the ball with pace into the box, into the central area for him to be able to get stuff done. Right? So for me, I just don't understand. At least from this is my perspective. I know, like I was watching this with actually some from my mates at Chelsea, and they're like, "Oh no, the lap's rubbish and stuff like that." But I'm like, I actually kind of like fundamentally agree with that. I disagree with that. Sorry, I feel like Delap is not being fed enough. Like I don't understand. Like I feel like yeah, we as Chelsea fans sometimes we conflate something. We want a striker that can create something out of nothing, but at the same time, yeah, we don't want him to be in the middle of the section of the pitch, passing stuff back, then having to rush all the way down into the box to create stuff. That's not the new archetype that is going to work efficiently and stuff like that to be able to make stuff happen. So ideally, in my personal opinion, if you're going to make the lap work, more balls into the box, more crosses into the box, right, in his direction. That's what needs to start happening, bro. I think in terms of Joao Pedro, bit up to RD United TV. Hope you're doing well. In terms of Garnacho, I think he's been pretty solid, mate. Nothing too bad, nothing too good. Been a pretty, been a good solid 6, 7 out of 10. I'll be honest with you, mate. Um, in terms of obviously this, like the last part I want to talk about, which is Joao Pedro. I think Joao Pedro again. I look at Joao Pedro, analyze him a bit more, and I'm just like, ooh wee, ooh wee. You know, I think he had a great strong start to the season. He was playing well, was doing everything great. He then obviously had the story about him having a knock. Maraska has been talking about him consistently, obviously having a knock and not being at full health. And you could really see that, particularly in the Nottingham Forest game. There's a game before that and a game after that where you could really see he was struggling, bro. He wasn't 100%. He wasn't playing well. He wasn't really shooting and stuff like that. And I just feel like for me, when I look at him, again, obviously, I know he scored some goals in the last 2 to 3 games, but I want that guy to heal up, improve. Hopefully, this international break is going to do that for us so that we can get the best version of Joao Pedro as possible. But I think I've also come to the realization, yeah, you have to play Delap and Joao Pedro together. You can't have one playing as the number 9 and another one on the bench. I don't think it works. I don't think balance-wise it works either. You have to play them both together. Otherwise, we're kind of in a situation where we're asking for trouble because Joao Pedro, I do feel like gets kind of like neutralized, right? Without having a center forward that can be directed upon to be able to make some of these other stuff happen and take place. So that's probably one thing I would say in terms of the Joao Pedro. In general, though, guys, again, we've had quite a few injuries. A lot of players have been out. We've got guys that are playing with injury right now. And again, from a position standpoint, you have to be quite positive about it. We're third in the league. We've had quite a few losses. Obviously, I know we had that week where we lost to Brentford. So we drew against Brentford. We lost against Bayern, and then we lost against the other team after which was United, obviously, if I'm not mistaken. And the fact that we're still in this position, we've lost against Wolves in the last minute, so Sunderland in the last minute too. I think in general, man, I look at all this stuff and I'm like, credit to the team that we're in this position, but we're now in a period of time where this is where the team usually goes, as we all know, right? This is what our team fails. So as they did last season, if you remember, the mid-December period onwards, that's what killed us. So I'm hoping we've kind of learned from some of our mistakes and we're able to improve upon that aspect as a team. So let's hope that's happening. Let's hope that's taking place as well. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts, guys. What's your thoughts? What's your opinions on this? Please, I want to hear what your thoughts are before we say stuff. I agree, Awani. That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna play that, you have to play to his strengths. Otherwise, man, again, we're asking for trouble, bro. Why we keep doing that is beyond me, bro. Why we keep doing that is beyond me, bro. And it really annoys me, man. It really does annoy me. But we move. But listen, man. But listen, we move people. I think I'm gonna call it wraps here. Been great to be back on streaming again. Hope you all enjoyed the Vision Nation's magical return. Hee. Listen, I look forward to seeing you guys later on within the week to discuss the preview for Chelsea versus who are we playing? Burnley, 12:30. So we move. But listen, as always, I've been your host, the Vision Nation. Love and guidance, big man. Peace, and as always, love and peace.